What's up, everybody? This is Jude from Section 122 on ArgosEndzone.com, and it's time for Week 18 action as the Argos travel to Hamilton to host Montreal on Friday Night Football. Friday Night Football tonight! As always, you can click the Show More button on the YouTube channel, jump to the chapter you want to see, but we're going to get things rolling here with a look back at what happened last week. The Argos traveled to Tim Hortons Field last week, but were actually the home team against not the Ticats as they hosted the Stampeders, thanks to what's happening with the Rogers Center and the Blue Jays. Tip of the cap to the Jays, see if they stay alive here on Friday night, but back to the football game. So, it was, tale of two halves. First half was gross. They're down 17-0. Trevor Harris can't find anybody wearing the right colored uniform. It was just an ugly first half. Second half, started to see it make a comeback. We saw some great play by Torrey Gurley with a great, an amazing catch at the side of the end zone, then dropped a touchdown pass in the following half. It was a comedy of errors, and it was, well, it was just different. Something felt off, and it just felt weird, and hopefully they got that worked out of the system. Speaking of travel to Hamilton, tip of the cap to the Ticat fans that were sitting behind us there at the game, the off-duty officials, I think it was. It wasn't as bad as I expected. Now, it'd be a totally different situation if Hamilton was playing, I'm sure, but I mean, it did nothing to discourage me from traveling down there again, as long as Toronto's not playing Hamilton. The Argos will be facing the new-look Montreal Alouettes at this year's Pink Game. So, anybody making sure you get down there, get your pink. Shout out to Jen Henry. Love you, girl. Yeah, now, as I said, new-look Alouettes, as they've got Kevin Glenn now taking snaps there in Montreal. We'll see if that's what's going to take to get some consistency on that offense, and getting S.J. Green, Fred Stamps, Nick Lewis involved in the offense and getting that team moving the ball more. I think what you've seen from the Argos defense lately is you're seeing more of a seven-man rush coming from their front seven as they're blitzing linebackers more, which this fella had been asking for all season. And the defensive secondary has been able to close off those passing lanes, making it's two halves greater than the sum of its parts type of thing here, where they're able to create more pressure on the quarterback because the defensive backs are giving them more time, which is giving the rushers more confidence to go on the ball. You can see how it all steamrolls together here. So Glenn is not afraid to throw that football, and what you're going to, I'm anticipating a ton of yardage as he will throw the ball a ton. Thinking back to the early matchup when he was still in Saskatchewan against the Argos going to overtime, I think he threw for almost 500 yards. So I think you're going to see an air show, especially with those three veteran receivers. You're going to see that air show coming up. So you're going to have to see, for this to be a competitive game, then the Argos are going to have to step up on defense, get in those passing lanes, disrupt the timing on receivers, and of course put Glenn on his back. Now, when the Argos have got the ball, you've got to be aware of where Chip Cox is at all times. He is dangerous in pass coverage, run support, and on the blitz. He is way too mean and too fast to be ignored on that defense. I think that regardless of what else is happening there, he's the guy to be aware of. So you've either got to get him to over-pursue on counters, getting him to bite on play-action passes, or throw it deep where he's not deep enough. I think that's going to be the big thing. And then the field position game is going to be huge, too. One of the things that fell apart last week for the Argos was their kicking game was brutal. They couldn't place those punts, get those coverages deep, which resulted in short fields for Calgary. If they don't correct that this week, this is going to be a long game for Toronto. So keep an eye out and see if they can improve their field position through the special teams game, as well as continue to contribute on offense. Speaking of which, Chad Owens went down late with an injury last week. All reports are that he will be back and healthy. I still can't figure out why someone has to go low on a guy that's listed at 5'8", but that's a whole other conversation. Keep an eye on Chad Owens, and let's see the Flying Hawaiian bounce back and continue to lead by example for the Argos this week. Two players I want you to watch this week. I'm looking at the veterans to step up here as the season gets late into October and the teams start to try to solidify their playoff position here. On offense, number 2, Flying Hawaiian Chad Owens. Chad has had those up and down games this season. Those ones that he's on, he's amazing, and the one he's off is when he's pushing too hard and the fumbles come and the drops happen. I think he's going to have a bounce-back game from what happened last week. Again, he's nothing to prove in this league anymore. He's a one-time most outstanding player, but there's a fire in him that you can't deny. Watch for Chad Owens to have that passion and lead when the Argos have the ball. On defense, I'm looking for another Grey Cup champion for the Argos. Looking for Ricky Foley, number 95. As I said, the defense is starting to create more and more pressure, and this is the type of game that Foley excels at. He's a guy that plays angry, but plays well when he's angry. There's old Bruce Lee movie, you want emotional content, not anger. Foley has got that emotional content that he can really contribute because he wants it so much more than the guys on the other side of the ball. Let's see if he can make life miserable for Glenn this week. So, on offense, number 2, Chad Owens. On defense, number 95, Ricky Foley. Trying to predict what the final score is going to be this week isn't easy, as the math says it's going to be 24-24. Well, we're not going to have a tie, and as I mentioned earlier, Glenn's got the ability to put on an air show. Trevor Harris should be bouncing back, and this could be a run-and-gun shootout, similar to that, Week 2 Argos Rough Riders game. So I'm aiming big. I'm aiming really big. So, yeah, let me shoot this down as like a 42-40 game for our Toronto Argonauts. Okay, yeah, you can bring it back up now. Great, cool. So, yeah, 42-40. Let's, just why not, right? Why not? You've heard the term cat calls before, which is another term for trash talk of this generation here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go with the cat calls for our trash tag. But since they're playing Montreal, let's use the French version of cat, which puts an H in there. So it's going to be the chat calls. Okay? So we're looking for things like, why don't you go buy some beer at your convenience store? Or awful lot of whores in this street for being named after a saint. Those types of things. So, tweet us at Argos Endzone with your best chat calls as the hashtag, and let's see who's got the best jab at the Montreal Alouettes. That'll wrap things up for Week 18. Hope you had some fun. Feel free to comment below, like, share, throw it around. Let's see if anybody else will be watching next week, right? Follow us on our social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Always trying to put some new and at least remotely interesting stuff out there. Something to occupy your time for a little bit. If you're going to the game, again, Friday night, 7 o'clock in Hamilton, as the Rogers Center is occupied with absolutely nothing Friday night. It is the annual Pink Game, so make sure you get your pink gear on to support a great cause. Argos Cheer alumni will be performing at halftime, which is always a blast to see some of your favorite cheerleaders from the past. And for your current cheerleaders, make sure you pick up the Argos cheerleader calendar. Help the ladies get their funds together so they can go to Winnipeg as part of the Grey Cup. Because, hey, Argos are in the playoffs. We keep looking at a double blue Grey Cup. It'd be great to have all the ladies there cheering on the double blue in person. If you can't make it to the game, make sure you're in front of the TV, 7 o'clock Friday night, and cheer them on as loud as you can from your couch. Make sure you can, and if you are on your couch or on your phone, get in on our trash tag. Send us your best French chat call, and let's see who had the most fun. We can have a lot of fun this week. Who's got the best lines there? So, until next time, this is Drew from Section 122 on ArgosOnZone.com. Remind you that we ride the rail, and we ride it hard.